All right, another best of 3, and this time a TvT. Starting off on Oceanborn on the top left, it is GuMiHo. And on the bottom right, we do have Oliveira, the team DKZ. GuMiHo, unfortunately, is still teamless, as far as I know, anyway. So Oliveira, still the reigning world champ. We'll see what happens in like 4 months, I guess. Thank you very much, State, for that raid. Hello, everyone. I was actually tuning into your stream before I started. Right, we just saw Oliveira take down Creator in rather convincing fashion. I don't know if Creator actually does like the new patch PvT, but he did. He didn't like that particular series. And GuMiHo has already taken down, well, frankly, just less notable people to make his way over here to face Oliveira in the round of 8. We have, now I would say a very close TvT. I'm not sure who is favored. Oliveira tends to be more aggressive, throws out the occasional kind of 2-on-1 opener even, or a very dedicated 2-base. Not too much, but if he would do it, you know, more likely it's him. GuMiHo can have phases where he does that, or phases where he goes for mech as well, of course. We know him as a unique player, but I would say, you know, majority of the time, actually, he's pretty normal. And in fact, his normal TvT is what helped him defeat Maru in one of their, well, more recent battles, but not recent in terms of time. That was like 4 months ago. But Maru is playing all types of aggressive openers that you would expect from Oliveira, for instance, and then GuMiHo is just playing totally standard and actually won, you know, pretty easily against Maru. Very odd little thing that happened at that time. So, you know, we could even see that happen again, because Oliveira can be such an aggressive TvTer. He could open up like Maru had done, but I don't know if I want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. I feel like Oliveira can at times be better at the aggressive TvT than Maru. Am I gonna get crucified? But seriously, it's something that Maru looked almost uncomfortable doing, and that's why GuMiHo was able to win that best of 3. Where Oliveira might choose the wrong thing. He never looks uncomfortable. He's very confident. He might choose the wrong thing to be confident in and just like fly 2 medevacs directly into Vikings. But he is confident. Gosh darn it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll just wait and see. We do have a multi-Reaper opener from Oliveira. GuMiHo just opting for a single 1, which actually just dived in. Sorry, 2. Single 2. Definitely how you say that. And in fact, 2 Reapers might get more work done than the potential 3 or 4 that's... He just went for 3 Reapers? Oh, 3 Reaper, 2 Hellion, okay. I thought he had 3 Hellions. Alright, so yeah, it might do more than Oliveira's little starting force, because GuMiHo's command center will be done. The Cyclone's already out. And a single Cyclone, well, maybe isn't actually the end-all be-all defense. A couple of Marines are going to help out. And yeah, most importantly, that high ground will be taken from GuMiHo, so... Like I said, GuMiHo's might do more damage. He's also going for a Banshee, which is really returned into the meta. Not because the Cyclone is necessarily worse again. I mean, it is. It's less guaranteed to get a kill on any of these flying units that enter into your base, such as the Banshee or the Oracle, for instance. But it's the fact that it seems like people are less likely to go for the Raven as well. Even though the Raven is still very powerful with its auto turrets, the fact that you get the interference matrix has apparently deterred some of these Terrans from opting for it every single time. And there's always that chance, even before the patch, that they would be going for something like what Oliveira is doing, which is a medevac opener. So it just feels like the Banshee was already kind of making a sneaky return into the matchup. And now with the new patch, there's perhaps even more emphasis. There certainly isn't a ladder, that's for sure. This push from Oliveira is a tank drop. Lets the fodder units take the brunt of the shots here, but you can see that this tank all by its lonesome is not going to do the trick, and in fact, oh, it's not going to die! It is very injured. Medevac is also very injured. The Banshee did return home to help out, even though it didn't really have to, so it has revealed itself. But the fact that it exists is still something that's worth noting for Oliveira, even if he won't take direct damage from it anymore. Or, well, maybe won't. Cyclone from GuMiHo is going to be out microed. Very dangerous game Oliveira just played, but he did win it. And they both are investing into the Raven and the Interference Matrix. Which, honestly, some Terran players have not been investing into the Interference Matrix, even in this matchup. Which I, personally didn't really get. Who was the TvT? I forget which TvT it was. You guys, I literally would have streamed it, so maybe you guys can remind me. But anyway, I feel like it is so worth it. I mean, I feel like most non-Terran players have scoffed at the change. They're like 50-50. Building off of a tech lab you already have for a Raven. Oh no, poor Terrans, blah. I'm kind of in agreement. It still seems very worth it. 47 is thank you for that gifted sub. So, how many Ravens have we gotten? 2 for each. However, oh boy, GuMiHo's so much faster on that stim in 1-1. He's faster on his orbital command as well. I know Oliveira has lost more in general. And his medevac drop hasn't really done anything yet, but it, it did live, so it's still a medevac and a tank alive. But he has fallen very far behind. He needs to do damage here. But fortunately, he does have his Ravens. He does have 3 tanks to 2, make that 1. GuMiHo didn't realize he was being attacked, so good things army spit like that probably wasn't the best idea. Now he's, kind of tackling this more on the nose. Interference matrix from both parties now. GuMiHo's Marines with stim do jump forward, but, not to terribly good effect. And they stim without combat shields. They're a one-shot, so, sometimes it's not even actually worth it. Maybe they didn't stim, I'm just crazy. But they did give their lives to the greater good, I suppose. 2 Ravens apiece still, and Oliveira has to be content with this damage, because it's good. It's just a question of whether it's good enough. Because Oliveira is so much later to stim combat shields, 1-1, and a little bit later to his orbital. This delay basically made up for that and that alone. Now 3rd CC is done and their economies will even out, but the fact that GuMiHo's upgrades are so much faster is the real bummer for Oliveira fans out there. Oliveira's got a lot to make up for. Currently, his advantage is in Vikings, which is something that GuMiHo just didn't dedicate to whatsoever, and we know Vikings can be very good in this matchup. But as Oliveira will be lacking Marine presence, he'll also be lacking mobility. He might not be able to utilize his tank-Viking combination as well as he's hoping to. This was a bold move from GuMiHo. Wanted to go for a distraction, Raven auto turret harassment, but instead has lost them. I don't know if the distraction is going to be good enough. Imagine if he had 2 interference pictures over here, but he's going to drop his tanks instead on the front lines. Is that actually a good move? I'm not sure about that. The Marines of Oliveira, even combat shieldless, just decimate the tanks. Auto turrets helped out significantly, and GuMiHo, I mean, usually you don't send your tanks first. It was a questionable... I don't know about that one. That was a series of questionable events that I know go the entire opposite way in a very ideal situation. But in an unideal situation, it looks freaking terrible. And that looked terrible. That was the loss of his Ravens for no good, and the loss of many of his tanks for, I guess, not the worst trade in the world, but still. It just didn't gel with this whole, being ahead thing. He's still ahead, though. His 2-2 starts up, so he'll stay ahead on the upgrades. His 4th command center is, plenty healthy, but nothing in proximity to defend it. Yeah, GuMiHo, 70% done 4th command center. Has to cancel it. Just do a simple 8 Marine drop. That's a bummer right there. Oliveira definitely bringing himself back into this game. Upgrades will always be an issue. The combat shields will no longer be a difference maker. The 4th command center is now faster for Oliveira. And the upgrades can be accounted for by tank count and positioning. And, Viking control, which again Oliveira has. As well as eventually made up for if the game really goes on for that long. So there's also that. But Oliveira should know that he's still kind of in trouble because of those upgrades. Especially as the tank count's not absurd. We're not talking about 12 versus 10 tanks at this point. And when Oliveira does have 10 tanks, and he does manage to do a very slow, careful push out into the map, and GuMiHo doesn't control the situation correctly, GuMiHo could be out-aired. That's right, I said that. That's a phrase. But he could be out-aired. He could have his tanks, his opponent's tanks up close to here with Vikings and a couple Liberators. And if GuMiHo doesn't use his mobility and his Marine counts, because he is going to 8 racks, he will find himself still dead, despite having the superior upgrades. But Oliveira would have to have a higher tank count and be very, very careful with the push and try to avoid any amount of base trading that GuMiHo would pressure him with. Fourth command center turning into a planetary now for Oliveira with static defense as well. GuMiHo just now finishing his fourth command center again. +1 vehicle weapons done for both parties, or at least soon enough. Oliveira, his tank count high enough to kind of spread out a little bit. Again, no Ravens on the side of GuMiHo as well. Although it looks like Oliveira also lost his at some point, I didn't even notice. 3-3? Question mark? Well, +3 attack starts immediately for GuMiHo. Gonna hold on to that advantage. Does find a bit of a weak point, perhaps, on Oliveira's fourth base. Not as much as he was hoping, actually. And Oliveira is going to use this opportunity to sprint across the map. This is what you would expect GuMiHo to do. GuMiHo does have a single tank, and these Marines are going to be double stimmed very soon, but that single tank can only do so much. SCV is getting slotted. Another stim. This is a lot of economic damage for GuMiHo to take, and he still has not killed Oliveira's planetary. The Vikings are there. They're going to hopefully get to a couple of Liberators, and Oliveira is going to strike GuMiHo's third while defending his fourth. An excellent combination of events right there for Oliveira, who really has dragged this game back. Now waiting for the Liberators, just drops on top. That's an effective tank drop with the Vikings landing as well. So many tanks that GuMiHo will go down prior to the Marines coming in here. Just the last tank, come on. Okay. But still, now only one tank anchoring this, not a big deal. The Marines cannot break the planetary. A little misclick as well right there from GuMiHo. Their supplies do remain dead even, funnily enough, as they both take fourth bases back in actual mining, although GuMiHo's not a planetary quite yet. Both of their upgrades have actually kind of evened up even further, as both of them didn't have the resources for +3 armor, and +3 attack is within probably 20, maybe 35 seconds of each other, which could be incredible, because GuMiHo, if there's a lot of action on the field, a 30 to 40 second difference of upgrades could be huge. But we'll see. A big Doom Drop could also do the trick. GuMiHo not going to go for a Doom Drop into a base, but rather on top of the tanks, getting some revenge for his tanks from earlier. The Marines of Oliveira come to respond. There might just be enough of them. The medevac healing over superior for GuMiHo. Even upgrades at that point in time as well. GuMiHo did not strike with the timing there, but he did just clear out all of his opponent's tanks. How many tanks are we down to? 2 for GuMiHo, 4 for Oliveira. Once again, dropping on the tanks. Do his Marines win this battle? The medevac healing so important right now, and he will barely win out. He's also about to have that +3 attack, but a couple of tanks of Oliveira, very important to be sieged up and ready to defend. He's going to defend his 4 bases and move on to a 5th. I don't think GuMiHo actually knows about this. Oh, he absolutely does not. One Liberator came across and dealt a couple of SCVs worth of damage. It will be cleaned up, and GuMiHo is going to be stalled on Oliveira's side of the map, making no more headway. But imagine if his +3 attack was 30 seconds faster, and he had +3 during those really, really tiny Marine battles. He would have had so many Marines left over that he might have been able to overwhelm the tanks defending there. But it was a scrappy trade. Scrappy, scrappy, scrappy. And now Oliveira looking to take advantage of this game. Up 30 supply, up an entire base. The upgrades very shortly going to match up and eventually become superior for the Red Terran, as he actually was able to afford +3 armor. GuMiHo only just now affording it. GuMiHo does, he's had a +2 attack for his vehicle weapons a lot of this game too, but he's been so tank light that it's not really been the main thing. And yeah, I just don't think GuMiHo knows about this 5th. He has no idea. No sensor tower to kind of reveal it, you know? And it's a planetary, so it's going to require a lot more than just a handful of Marines to stop it from mining. Oliveira's supply is a little bit lower in the army supply, to be fair. He's got a 24 worker lead, and they are working. Make no mistake, but I guess the mules have been dropped from GuMiHo and not from Oliveira. Or maybe he's only just now transferring a lot of them. That actually might be the issue. GuMiHo is getting his 5th base, but that is his orbital. Very easy for Oliveira to stop mining if he actually scouts it, which he does have a large marine force going in that exact direction. GuMiHo looked like he was about to defend it, pulls away, pulls back, might be in time to defend it indeed. Maybe, just in time, barely in time. Orbital could be repaired, and then I think Oliveira would not be able to snipe it. He realizes it as well and is forced to back away. Timing not working out for him, but GuMiHo just scouted that this 5th of Oliveira's is a planetary. Again, so hard to crack. GuMiHo knows that he still is in a very precarious position, but he has recovered his army supply. Oliveira, still not totally maxed out, has money in the bank and supply, but he's not actually maxing out. No 3rd factory was ever built, I guess, at that scrappy point in time. He did add on triple starport, but that's not helping him right now. And in fact, this big concave from GuMiHo might be incredible. GuMiHo is coming in here from so many different angles, and the tanks of Oliveira are so much more ineffective. That was when Oliveira had a +3 armor advantage, but his tanks were nullified. But GuMiHo's like 320 surround or something. And now GuMiHo has brought back the game that was brought back from Oliveira in the first place, is hitting Oliveira's 3rd base and looking to enter into the main, something that Oliveira is desperately trying to stop. He's rallied his Marines to the front to make sure the drop never comes in, but he still has a big problem. His naturals also under control. The naturals under control lead to the 4th base, being under control lead to the 5th base, so on and so forth. This is big problems. GuMiHo finding an opportunity here is going to take full advantage of it. Now going to win this fight as well. GuMiHo's army supply just superior straight up, and Oliveira is forced to tap out. GuMiHo gets game number 1, but what a freaking struggle that was. Holy shit. After an intense game number 1, in the bottom right, GuMiHo is now up 1. Top left of Golden Aura, it is Oliveira. I feel like I don't see this map that often, actually. Oliveira's thing on SCV up. Let's be cheeky. Wasn't the longest TvT you've ever seen, but it was a very intense one in the late game. And sometimes when those types of games happen, there's almost a natural, instinctive response to cheese in the second game from someone. And for this particular series, it is Oliveira, who I would definitely say is the more aggressive one. So proxy 2 racks it is. GuMiHo not going to SCV scout, most likely because he's planning on factory. Uh-oh. He's not factory expanding. Alright, well, this is a golden opportunity for Oliveira, though. Okay, alright. So generally, if you factory expand, you don't have to SCV scout. You have a solid basis against 2 racks. But if you 1 racks expand, you should SCV scout. 2 racks still absolutely possible in this matchup. It's not the only thing pros do, but it is definitely a thing they do. And it just so happens that GuMiHo has chosen the wrong game. To 1 rack expand with no scout. It's going to be a struggle. Almost guaranteed Oliveira will get a lead off of this, if not just straight up win the game. GuMiHo is scouting with his Reaper, but, you know, you can't do very much with the scout of the Reaper. He could have SCV scouted the proximity of his natural, but he still wouldn't have seen it because it's kind of far out. Now the Reaper knows, and now I don't even know how GuMiHo deals with this. He's got a reactor building. The first 2 Reapers, to be honest, aren't the scariest thing with the SCV pool, so that's the good news. Oh, no, Jesus Christ, the Reaper almost got bopped in the perfect freaking position. Whew. But now we're going to have 4 Reapers, and that Cyclone is not going to be out soon enough. Damage will be done. Certainly a lot of SCV mining has been lost, but damn, good on GuMiHo to keep this Reaper alive for this long. Not that it's the only thing you have to... You know, this doesn't constitute a defense. A single Reaper is not a defense, but still, kudos. That would have been dead and gone a long time ago for most TvTs. 8 SCVs killed. If GuMiHo could salvage his natural, he might still be able to play this out. A Cyclone certainly is a big baddie to have here, but it is a little vulnerable. It's a bit of a glass cannon. Will not get that second Reaper kill. That'll regen back up. SCV got to come down and repair this for sure. That's exactly what's happening. GuMiHo going to go for a Reaper run-by to his opponent. If he grab even 2 SCVs, that would go a very long way. Because with a 4-worker difference, but a much faster natural command center, GuMiHo absolutely can bring this back. Even better, he's going to delay his opponent's command center. Reaper's going to go for a run-by into GuMiHo's base. GuMiHo did pull the SCVs, but then pulled them back for the surround. Very dangerous game to play. You can see how many SCVs got very injured. A couple of more grenades, and suddenly 3 or 4 of them die. But fortunately, Oliveira did not get all that damage, and then some, and then took some damage back at home. Still does not have his natural command center building, actually. And GuMiHo, kind of the sequence of events that has happened here, has managed to really level this game. Equalize, maybe, because the command center is so much faster, but it's definitely a more recoverable game than you would think. An unscouted 1 Rax expand versus proxy 2 Rax usually just dies. Five-worker lead for Oliveira, though. So this command center is finally going to finish. Let's turn into an orbital, though. I mean, GuMiHo will probably catch up to maybe a 2 or 3 worker deficit. He's got a superior army right now, but can he actually use it? Not with a bunker up. Bunker's going to be tough to tear down. Two Cyclone lock-ons. And there's also 2 lock-ons for Oliveira. I'm pretty sure Oliveira can make a defense work. Now, it's definitely more about catching up than it is about trying to do, like, straight-up return damage. He can maybe force the SCVs off to repair. That's already something. Well, there you go. 4 Cyclones are going to get locked on. That bunker is dead. Ho-ho! Hello! Me and underestimating Cyclones. Tank will pop out, but it is late to the party. Has to micro away his own Cyclones. Command center is lifted. GuMiHo doing more than evening this game out. Now taking a lead. His command center just fine and dandy. Landed on the ground, building SCVs. Now he's up 4 workers as well, and Oliveira cannot get his natural back down. Lickety split. He still has to wait. I mean, the Cyclones could stick around a little bit longer. Looks like they will choose not to. There is a Banshee on the way, and a medevac was spotted, so it's possible that either one of those things, especially the medevac that he knows is around, would go across the map. But GuMiHo didn't stop making Cyclones. Good lord. Oh god, it's what we feared. It's mass Cyclones. Ah, stop it. No, but seriously, it kind of makes sense for the scenario, but it's a bit comical looking, because they're fucking boxes. Anyway, we see 3 Cyclones will be enough for both the medevac drop as well as the Banshee. The Banshee, I don't believe GuMiHo knows about, but he absolutely knew about this, and he's absolutely going to get the kill. The Raven will be sacrificed, however. GuMiHo did not have to lose that. Plenty of injured SCVs from earlier on, too, so at least the Banshee will find 3 SCVs before having to skedaddle, which it does so effectively. That's a lot of dead space on this map. But we're talking about 6 Cyclones. I mean, this is a mouse in a house of cats. They eventually will get the job done. There you go. And I can attest to this. 4 SCVs killed, hardly worth the Banshee. It's actually not the worst Banshee, but basically uncloaked Banshee. If you get 6, that's when you feel good. But it also delays your Raven, which, if you even get a Raven, which Oliveira didn't, which is already delayed by your medevac. Clearly, Oliveira has moved more towards a bio-focused play regardless. So it's not even lacking a unit, it's just a different way of playing. GuMiHo clearly not going for a bio-focus at all. Got extra factories on the way. Now, if this was a really well played out meta, you would think 6 Cyclones would be enough evidence to the mech fact, but I don't know, actually. You know, the start of the game is kind of weird. The almost desperate Cyclone play can be misconstrued as a filler. I don't know what else to call it, you know? But, like, it doesn't necessarily 100% mean mech, but it is 100% mech from GuMiHo, who, well, with mech, is going to go for a double medevac drop, but still. This is effective. Barrack's going to have to be canceled, if not just straight up killed. Combat shields also denied. Add-ons going down, and Oliveira's own double drop went the long way. So it's not affecting this game as of yet. 5 SCVs killed, and this is not getting cleaned up as it is camping the production. Tanks trying to come forward now, but might not be good enough. More barracks going to be going down. GuMiHo, he's got his Vikings, he's got his tanks. Where are his Cyclones? I guess they were in the natural because they all just died. Yeah, 4 Cyclones just died. Whoops. 12, 14 SCVs, more going down. And now Oliveira needs to desperately do the return damage. He does drop right on top of that one tank that was sieged, negating that power, but the other tank was unsieged. Now the SCVs had to be pulled in, so it is going to be an almost even trade. 13 SCVs killed versus 14. Both players having to escape with whatever was left from their drops. And this game is freaking weird, but Oliveira had lost a barracks that was building. He straight up lost it, and he just lost a barracks that was on fire. So his production has been cut almost in half. Oh, what? Hey, hey. And GuMiHo was actually on 3 base mining, although he had to lift his main, to be fair. So he has been accruing more minerals and gas, because he also got his 6 gases up, which is putting him into a better position. That can be the slower recovery process, but in this case, he's in a wonderful place, doubling the army supply, 9 workers ahead, and finding Oliveira's very tiny, unsubstantial army out in the map. Good interference matrix as well. Oliveira gonna get 2-0 here, despite having an almost build order win. Seriously. A 2 racks versus a 1 racks expand with no scout is almost a build order win. They call it a soft build order win. And GuMiHo with a miraculous Reaper micro into really decent counterattack thanks to the Cyclones being reactored, I guess. You know, either should be applauded for that or should make us really wonder about the possibilities of the Cyclone counterattack after a 2 racks. Is this a new problem for the 2 racks? I don't know, but I was really quite impressed with GuMiHo keeping that 1 Reaper alive. That Reaper dies, and that's always when they tap out. So, GG's. GuMiHo, pretty good. It's actually got like a home field advantage in these online cups, I feel like.